ポイント新宿に UFO モンスターが出現。ただのバディフリッテ
Henshin!
終わりのない戦いを決して恐れはしない必ず立ち上がれ
What up YouTube and all you sexy Buddyfighters? I'm Cosmoman and today I'll be doing a deck profile on my Galaxy Defense team that I used to fight evil and uphold justice with. Now before we begin, to whoever that's watching this video, promise me to never let this fall into the hands of evil. Let's get started. If you like to crush your opponents with high volume of criticals, we're talking about 5 criticals with double attack. We're talking about 2 criticals with triple attack, a size 0 with double attack and 2 criticals. That's pretty insane. This deck will truly give you the superhero experience. First up, the Buddy, we play Hydro Marina. When this card enters the field, put the top card of your deck into the gauge, gain 1 life, and if you're transformed, draw a card. You guys might be wondering, why didn't I play Cosmoman as Buddy? Because Cosmoman is poor. Because basically, you will always get a call this card. However, for Cosmoman, if let's say there are so many different forms of Cosmoman, if you really are unable to draw into your main Cosmoman, you can still alternatively transform into different Cosmomans. However, Pet Shark over here, you always call him for a nice gauge, draw and gain a life. Next up, we play 4 of the main card, Galaxy Assault Cosmoman. Basically, pay 3 gauge. When you are enter the field or transform into this card, put the top 3 cards of your deck into this card. So, and for each card of it, you get defense 1000 and critical +1. It has double attack, soul guard, transform. And at the end of the turn, return this card from your field into your hand. So basically, on the first turn you call him, you get 3 souls, which makes him a 5 criticals with double attack as well as 11k defense. However, at the end of the turn, you will have to return this card to your hand. So that's when you use his soul guard ability to remove 1 soul and he remains on the field, which basically makes him a 4 criticals with double attack. So this card is very powerful. However, over the turns, it gets slightly weaker because the souls get removed, but however, it is still an insane card. Do not mess with this card because it will just destroy your opponent. Next up, we play 3 Galaxy Assault Cosmo 9. Now this is an alternative to Galaxy Assault Cosmo Man over there. However, it is a little bit different. It's pay 2 gauge. When this card enters the field transform, put the top 3 cards of your deck into the soul. Same effect. The Galaxy Assault you are transformed into cannot be rest by your opponent card effect, and it gets penetrate. At the end of the turn, return this card to your hand. It has triple attack, soul guard, and transform. So this is more of a support card if you are already transformed into Cosmoman. So usually what I would do is I'll call him to the side together with Cosmoman, making my Cosmoman cannot be rested as well as it gets penetrate, and it's a triple attack as well. Super insane. Next up, we play Galaxy Assault Cosmoman Draco. So pay 2 gauge. When this card enters the field, transform into it, put the top 3 cards of your deck into its soul. So as you realize, all the Cosmoman has a similar effect because it gets such an overpowering stats as well as criticals. It has to have some drawback to it. So after 3 turns, it will return to your hand. However, you can also just continuously call them onto the field again, which is not that bad. Now, if you are transformed into a Galaxy Assault, the size of this card is reduced by 3. It has move, double attack, soul guard, transform. So if you are transformed to any Galaxy Assault, it makes him a size 0 with double attack, and it's 2 criticals together with a 7k beefy stats, which is insanely powerful. Next up, we play 4 of Cosmo Falcon number 1. Call cost, put the top card of your gauge into the soul and pay 1 gauge. All Galaxy defense team on your field cannot be rested by your opponent's card effect, and they get critical +1 and penetrate. They said all, so including this card. So if you have a Cosmoman over there, together with a different Cosmoman combination, preferably the size 0, and this card on the field, is basically a 20 crit critical field damage. Next up, we play Horizon Fire. Same thing, pay 1 gauge, you put the top card of deck into this soul. When this card attacks, if you're transformed into a Galaxy Assault, destroy a card on your opponent field and deal 1 damage to your opponent. Now, at this meta, destroying cards is very important. Now, whichever combination you decide to put on the board, it will add up to a total of 20 criticals. Now, that even OTKs the deck with the highest life in the game, Dragon Zui, and that's pretty insane because Cosmoman over here is a 5 criticals. With this guy on the board, it becomes it's a 6 criticals, so total of 16 criticals plus your size 0, it's 4 criticals. That makes it to 20 criticals. If you decide to go Cosmoman together with the size 0 and spaceship over here, it adds up to 20 criticals as well. If you go to Cosmoman, the size 0 over here as well as your tank over here is basically a 3 critical double attack, which also adds up to 20 criticals. Now, I'll say the size 0 is very important. You'll always want him on your field because it has move as well. Next up, 4 of the Pet Shark, my trusty little shark. And next up, 4 of Cosmo Falcon number 2. Activate, you may drop a Galaxy Defense team on your hand, from your hand. If you do, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Put up the 1 Galaxy Defense team and 1 Galaxy Assault team from among them into your hand, and put the rest into the bottom of the deck in any order. You can only use this ability once per turn. So if you have multiple, if you summon another copy of him, you can use him again. Now, why I say this card is so powerful, it really is because many of the cards over here, including spells, they have the attribute of Galaxy Defense Team or Galaxy Assault. For example, your Cosmo Flasher, it is a Galaxy Assault as well as a Galaxy Defense Team. Your Negate is a Galaxy Assault, and all of your Cosmoman and all of your monsters, they are Galaxy Defense Team or Galaxy Assault, which is insane. Basically, this card is you have to play for, and it really gets your engine running for the deck. Next up, we play 4 of Cosmo Flasher. Basically, put the top card of your deck into the gauge and search out for 1 Cosmoman. Your Cosmoman searcher, definitely play 4. Next up, we play 4. This is a Key of Justice. Basically, it's your basic draw 2 mechanism. Very important, play 4 of him. Next up, we play 4 of Hyper Energy. Charge 4 cards into your gauge. So all your Cosmoman is pretty gauge heavy. They come with a cost of 3 gauge, 2 gauge, 2 gauge. So you really need a lot of gauge. That's why I play 4 of him. Now guys, this is a pretty budget build. If you're looking for a little bit more advanced build, if you have a little bit more budget, I will be covering that at the end of the video. Next up, now we play 4 of Cosmo Barrier. This is the strongest negate in the game right now. So you may only cast this card if you are transformed into a Galaxy Assault. Pay 1 gauge, counter. For this turn, the damage you take are reduced by 1. This is the errata, guys. The true power is actually, for this turn, damage you take is reduced to 1. Now, it's so shockingly powerful that they had to misprint it. Oh my gosh. Now, this power is only, this is my special secret technique, only available with the Galaxy Defense team. It is so powerful right now. If they have a 5 criticals and they attack you, it is reduced to 1. If they have a triple attack with 3 criticals, it's all reduced to 1. And that is just super insane. Next up, we play 4 of Futal. You may only cast this card if you are being attacked. Nullify the attack. And if you pay 1 gauge, you can gain 3 life. Pretty insane. Your secondary negate. Next up, we play 3 of Galaxy Defense Team will not go down without a fight. I love all the hero world names. They are really epic. So, destroy a Galaxy Defense Team once on your field. Counter, destroy a card on your opponent field. Destroying a card is really insane. Counter makes it even more insane. And because your Galaxy Defense Team on your field, they have many soul guards. When they enter the field, they already have 3 soul guards. So the core cost of this card is actually pretty easy to fulfill, and it isn't that painful to fulfill as well. Next up, we play 3 of Galaxy Defense Team Far East Base set. All Galaxy Defense Team on your field gets Power 2000 and Defense 2000, and all Galaxy Assault on your field cannot be destroyed, and their abilities cannot be nullified by opponent card effect. This ability cannot be nullified. This card is very powerful because it covers the weaknesses of Galaxy Assault Team, which is which is basically destruction. If you destroy my entire Cosmoman, then I do not have any defense to tank your attacks. Because Cosmoman itself, on the first turn of your opponent, have a whooping defense of 10k defense, and if you just use this negate, basically they are really dealing almost close to no damage to you at all, just for one card. That is really insane, and that's truly the power of Cosmoman. So I was saying this build is pretty basic. Now, if you're looking for a more advanced build, we'll take a look at these cards. First up, we have Or So the Dream I Had When. You may only cast this card if your opponent casts a spell. Pay 2 gauge, nullify the spell cast by your opponent. So, with Cosmoman, you're hitting with a 5 criticals, and usually your opponent would never want to let that damage touch them, so they use a negate. And if you use this card, basically, you know, it just goes for the game. You just rush your opponents, 5 criticals, spell now, and go for game, which is so important. However, this deck is already pretty gauge heavy, so in order to play this card, I would recommend that you play Galaxy Defense Team Alpha. So you can only call this card to the left. The gauge cost, a return on the card cost, and transform cost of all your Galaxy Assault is reduced by 1. So Cosmoman becomes a 2 gauge, Cosmo 9 becomes a 1 gauge, and Cosmo Draco becomes a 1 gauge. It helps you save a lot of saves your gauge issue, solves your gauge issue, and helps you save a ton of gauge, enough to use for your spell now. And also it has all souls on Galaxy Assault on your field cannot be dropped by opponent card effect. Now that's another weaknesses of the Cosmoman deck. And lastly, we play It's Superhero Time. You may only cast this card if you have an item equipped. Pay 1 life. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Put one of them among them into your hand and put the rest into the gauge. You can only use this card once per turn. Now this card is pretty expensive because of its insane effect. Basically, you are looking at the top 3 cards. You know, you're choosing any one of them and the rest goes into the gauge. That's really insane. So if you have a budget, I would recommend going for these cards. Maybe if you want to play these cards, I'll cut down a little bit on Hyper Energy, because this is a gauge card as well. And it also covers gives you additional draw power in a sense, because you are choosing one. You're not minusing 1 card from hand. You're replacing it with 1 card out of the 3 card. Now we have come to the end of the deck profile. Congratulations, proud warrior. You are now officially a member of the Galaxy Defense Team, and you have gained access to the Cosmoman powers. If you're wondering where I get my cards, check out buddy-mart.com. They do sell singles all the way to constructed decks, everything to get you into the game of Buddyfight. By the way guys, have you guys seen Dragon King? Never mind. May the power of justice be with you.